Hey there, this is the Small Fish, Big Podcast, a show for the gallus few who dream and do. If you're a small biz owner, a creative freelancer, or someone dreaming about leaving your 9-to-5, this is the podcast for you. Each week, I'll chat with an inspiring guest who will share their entrepreneurship story before we delve into a discussion about running a creative business. Thanks for tuning in. Hello and welcome to episode 2 of season 2 of the Small Fish Big Pod. Today I am joined by Bélocine Musolo, who is a designer originally from Paris and living in Scotland now for the last 3 years. Hello.
Hello everyone. Hi.
Hi. Thank you so much for joining us today. So rather than me try to explain what it is that you do, I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit about you and your business.
Sure. So I am a self-taught fashion designer. I learned to sew by myself watching YouTube videos. And today I have a business called Neftali Couture. I sell African-inspired clothing. So I do dresses and skirts for women, shorts and accessories like bow ties for men. And I also have accessories for women, which are headbands, and we stuff like cleansing clothes or things like that. So accessories. And of course, in the season of pandemic, I also have face masks.
Brilliant. Well, yeah, anybody who's listening to this in the future, we are right at the end of September, and I think we're about 6 months into a lockdown in this weird new way of life in COVID. So like many other small business owners, Bélocine has found a way to adapt her business and sell some new products. So that's great. I'm glad you put that in because it really is a sign of the times. So tell us a little bit more. So you say you're self-taught. Tell us how your business started. How did you come up with the idea to turn this sort of passion for making things into a business?
So I mainly do clothes with African fabric because I love the color. I love African fabric, and I am African myself. So it's part of my culture, and I am very proud of it. So initially, I started doing this for myself. So to tell you the entire story, I wanted to wear an African dress that I saw my friend wearing. I asked her, where did you get it? And she told me, I got a tailor to do it for me. Here's his address. I went to the tailor and I asked him to do the dress for me, and he gave me his price. And I was a student at the time, so I didn't have the money. And I was like, no, thank you. And then I was working in an IKEA store, and I saw a sewing machine for approximately the same price as the dress that the guy wanted to sell me. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it myself. I've never sewn before. I never touched a sewing machine before, but I was bold like that, and I said, I'm going to do it myself.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no. It was very surprising when I came with the sewing machine at home. My mom was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm gonna try. And so I started to watch tutorials on internet, on YouTube, blogs, and I was just trying to make it happen. And this is how I started sewing. And it was just for myself, to make African clothes for myself. And then I had a few friends, and that was when I was in France, back in France. And I had some friends that were telling me, oh, your clothes are very beautiful. Oh, can you do something for me? But I wasn't comfortable because I was thinking that it wasn't perfect enough. There were a lot of mistakes that I could see and they couldn't, of course. And I wasn't feeling ready. Then I finished uni in Paris, and I was looking for a job and didn't find one in Paris. And I had an opportunity here in Scotland. I never knew Scotland. All I knew about Scotland was men in kilts. I knew about whiskey in Scotland, and that was it. But I was living at my parents at the time, and so I thought it's time for me to just try. I'm young. Why not go to a foreign country? And I came in Scotland for this opportunity, which is my current job, my corporate job. And when I came in Scotland, I could realize that there were not much African people in the city I was living here in, which is Ayr. And I was always walking around with my colorful clothes, and people were looking at me like, wow, that's cool. And I thought, well, maybe I can do something, and maybe I can, share my culture, share my clothing with people, because they are more wearing gray, black colors. I can bring some colors here. And that's how I started, basically.
That's amazing. And I think it's really interesting because I can see, and nobody else can see this because obviously we're just listening to the audio, but Bélocine has this beautiful, colorful artwork behind her and colorful cushions around her, and she's wearing a lovely, colorful outfit as well. And I think, and there's me in my black jeans and boring gray jumper, but I think that's true. If you're used to being sort of surrounded by color, or you're just used to people dressing a different way, or maybe seeing more people who dress like yourself, and all of a sudden you come to a new place and you do get noticed because you are wearing things that are bold and bright and colorful. So that's really cool that you thought, I'm gonna get this out there and introduce this to other people. And how have you found it then? Because if you say there aren't many other people that were kind of dressing that way and you were getting noticed, have people been quite open to the idea of changing their style or introducing a new style?
Well, it depends. Some people were very open, but they were like, it's beautiful on you, but I'm not sure it would suit me. So that's where it was a bit difficult in the beginning. And I am very glad because at my job, I make some friends and they were giving me their feedbacks as Scottish people because I am French. So maybe I don't think the same way as them. And one of them told me, this is a lot just for me. I'm not used to wear that much color. You should maybe do accessories or something little with some color. So I can start with that and see, okay, it's good on me. And then maybe I'll go further. But like just start with all these colors, maybe it won't work. So I took her advice, and this is why I did accessories for women, the headbands, and I did the bow ties for men. And it was well accepted, but I didn't know anybody. I started from scratch because it was never my idea to create a business. I just came out with that like, oh, maybe I should try it, but I had nothing at all. I started from nothing. So what I did was doing some networking. I used Eventbrite to do some networking. And I started with the basic, which is having a website, having social media, a social media page, and having a logo and trying to determine what products I want to sell. And this is how I started slowly. Yeah, basically.
Well, and we have a similar experience in that we both moved to a new country. Now, I had a bit of an upper hand here because my husband is Scottish. So I had his family and friends here, but none of them work in creative industries. None of them have small businesses. So as much as they've been really supportive and encouraging, which has been amazing, I didn't necessarily, like yourself, I kind of had to seek out my own opportunities to network and to meet other people and to try and build a business up. And it's interesting because I think about this all the time. Had I done this back home, so back in Canada, I did photography very part-time, but as you're saying, more for friends. I was still kind of learning. I wasn't really running it like a business so much as a hobby that I was getting the odd job from. And I think it would have been a lot easier to start a business in a place where you do have a big support network, because that makes a big difference, having friends. You were saying your coworkers that are kind of shouting out about it and giving you honest feedback. It's quite hard when you don't have that and you have to build it up.
True, absolutely. And I am very grateful for my friends. I also had a friend who told me, you should do some markets. I know there is supermarket. Oh my God. I am French, forgive me.
You're fine, don't worry.
She told me you should do Glasgow supermarkets. You should reach out to them because they organize some markets with a lot of designers or small businesses, and maybe you should shout out to them. I didn't know anybody here, so having their feedbacks helped me. I did reach out to them, supermarket, and it was great. And I met some other small businesses, and it was very, very good to have this network and the most beautiful thing was that I could see customers face to face. Having a website is great, but I was very small. I didn't know anybody. My first year, I only had 15 views on my website, 15 views. But being at the market, I could see the customer face to face. They could try on my products. And as I said, they were like, this is too colorful for me. And I was like, just try it on. Even though you don't want to buy it, just try and see if it fits you. And they were trying. They were like, oh, actually, it's nice. And they bought me some products, but through website, maybe it wouldn't be that easy. So thanks to my friend, I was introduced to their market and I could do some sales and get more noticed. So very grateful for my friends.
I think that makes a lot of sense too. So I've never made any products, so I don't have that experience of kind of having a physical thing to sell. Everything I've done has always been service-based, but I think there is something about, so if I go and look for a gift for somebody on Etsy or through Instagram and I look for something handmade, it is really hard to tell what it's like without being able to actually hold it, as you say, see the fabric, touch it, try it on. And with clothes, if people are already maybe being a bit more daring than they normally would be, choosing something really bold and colorful, it probably is a bit daunting. So I can see that working really well at markets. And as you say, if you encourage people, listen, just try it. If you don't like it, it's fine.
Yeah.
Once they have it on, going, actually, I feel really good in this.
Yeah, exactly. And it was very, very good for me. And I've started to do a few markets. My first one was in June 2019, so it was last year. And it was very great. And to see, people buying my products that I made with my hands, here in my living room, it was just amazing. Like, I did that with my hands and there is someone who wants it and buys it. What? So one thing that I absolutely love with my business is that I am a self-taught. I've never went into any classes. I've just learned myself. But people are pleased with my products, and that makes my whole life. I don't know if you say that, but it makes my day. Every time I have an order, even now that I'm getting more noticed, every time I have an order, I am happy. I do a little dance because I'm like, I did that with my hand, and there is someone who values it enough to pay for it, and this is the best feeling ever.
I totally agree. And there's that whole, like, a saying that kind of goes around the internet a lot is very much in line with that. It's like every time you buy from a small business, a real actual person does a happy dance. And it's true.
That's so true.
If you buy a pair, I don't know, if you buy a dress from a big brand, they don't notice. The person that started that brand's probably not even, doing any of the day-to-day anymore. But you are sitting, as you say, working from your own home, building something, making something with your hands, something that you've taught yourself to do. I mean, it's an amazing, amazing thing. And I think it does wonders for your confidence as well, because when you're starting out, you said it earlier, you made something for yourself, you started making things for friends and you caught things, you went, oh, that's not perfect, that's not perfect. Probably your friends would have never picked that out, as you said, but I think we're all a perfectionist with our own craft. And if you don't ever get your stuff out into the world and see that people love it, you never build up that encouragement to keep going and keep getting better.
Absolutely right. And one thing that I have learned in my journey is that you have to do with what you have now. I've always wanted to be perfect and have the best equipment ever and have everything that I need. But I'm not, I'm just starting. I don't have that money. I don't have that budget. Even I wanted to buy the perfect camera to do the perfect picture for my social media, but I don't have it. So it is either I wait for having enough money and start something, or start something now and get better and better with time. And I think that starting with what you have now allows you even to have some mistakes. It's fine. You get better and better with time. And all my pictures, I take them with my iPhone. All my pictures are my friends wearing my clothes that I'm taking pictures of them. So this is how I started, and it is the right way to do for me, because you have no pressure. You just do with what you have, and the more you go, the more you improve. I started just with my sewing machine from IKEA, and now I have overlocker. I have mannequins, so I can take measurements on the mannequins. I didn't start with that.
Oh, you're absolutely right. You have to start somewhere. And if you keep holding off and going, oh,